Hello, and I guess welcome back to Mum Talk. I mean, it's very strange being back, I'm not going to lie. This is probably the fourth take now. I'm struggling to get back into it, but here we go. I'm going to try not to waffle too much. I'm going to keep this one short and brief. I wanted to say hi. If you followed Mum Talk Instagram page, you will know that I put a little message out saying I wanted to do a podcast last week, lost a cable. I've now not found the cable, bought a new one, but I'm all set up and I had to remind myself this morning, like, how do I record a podcast? Where do I go to record a podcast? The software that I used to use on my computer to record podcasts just will not open, keeps crashing on my computer. So that was not a good start. So I'm using a different platform. So I'm crossing my fingers that it works and this actually records and I can actually edit it and download it and upload it onto Acast that hosts my podcast. So praying this all works. You should have something in your ears right now. But I wanted to come on, give you a little update as to where I am, what I'm doing. I know I was super vague on my Instagram post the other day. I'm finding it all so uncomfortable. Oh my goodness. If you've had me in your ears for however many years, then you know, social media is not really my bag. I do find it quite challenging, to say the least. How am I? Where am I? What am I doing? Let's fill you in. I wish I could ask you guys how you are and to fill me in, but seeing this is a one-way thing, I'm not going to get your answers back. But I hope you're all doing really well. I hope your little ones are doing really well. I hope you are feeling really fulfilled at the moment. This is kind of one of the reasons I'm here because I have really struggled. It has been almost 3.5 years since my last podcast. The last one aired maybe December, and that may have even been a repeat. So December 2022. And considering I started this podcast back when my firstborn was just 11 weeks in my tummy, and she's almost 8 now. She'll be 8 towards the end of this year. That's a long time. And my God, hasn't the podcast world changed? A lot has happened in that time, even in the last 3.5 years. But I'm so grateful you're all still here. I went on to the stats on the podcast, having literally just forgotten about the podcast for about 3 years. And there is still over 1,000 of you listening every single month. And that's got to be new people finding the podcast and listening, because I mean, do any of you listen to the same episode twice? Probably not. I'm hoping that you're all going to find this podcast, the ones of you who have been with me from the beginning, because it's just really nice to connect. And when I put that social media post out on Instagram last week, I was so just, this sounds really cheesy, but my heart was really warmed by the amount of you who commented and sent me messages about your buggy walks and how much you'd been thinking about where I was, what I was doing. It was, yeah, lovely to hear. So, what have I been up to? Not a huge amount other than getting myself in a mental pickle, to be honest. I guess I'll start with the reason that I took a break from the podcast, which turned into a almost 3.5 year break. My eldest, when she was a baby, was very much a unicorn baby. She slept when I asked her to sleep, 80% of the time, not all the time. So I was able to record podcasts in that time with the guests while she was sleeping. And it flowed very nicely and it was very easy and it was lovely. Along comes my youngest, who's a boy, and the tables were turned. And I kind of got slapped in the face a little bit by lack of sleep. I would organize interviews and then I'd have to cancel interviews. I'd organize them again. And then he would wake up, and he was not a quiet baby. I'd be able to, if my eldest woke up, she would be happy bouncing along in the bouncer for a little bit, but not my youngest. He would not want to do that. And he would just want to cry and he'd want constant boob. And it was just all a bit messy. And I felt like I couldn't keep up. I felt like I couldn't give him my full attention. I wanted to give the podcast the full attention. The podcast needed a lot more attention because there was a lot more competition. I think it's brilliant that there's so much more information out there now about motherhood and birthing, and there's so much information out there now up for grabs, which there wasn't when I started the podcast, which was the reason I started the podcast, because it was literally just a medical podcast and happy mum happy baby podcast and me at the very beginning. So yes, I felt like I was failing on all counts. So I took the decision just to step back from it and to give him my all. But now both of my children are at school, which I can't really believe I'm saying. My youngest will be 5 in a couple of months. I have gone through This last 6 months, a little bit longer than 6 months, through kind of real turmoil with my purpose. I am awful if I don't have a purpose. And my happiest, I was only thinking last night actually in bed, my happiest times are when I really feel like I have purpose. I am the kind of person that needs to look after something. If I didn't have a husband who didn't want a dog, I would be having a dog right now at home with me to look after because I need to look after things. I very much lacked this purpose. And I knew this was going to happen. I said to my mum almost a year before my youngest started school, I have to have something in the pipeline to work on or to do to have a focus when they're at school. Otherwise, I'm going to really, really struggle. And of course, I didn't. Of course, that didn't happen. Like I put my finger in a lot of pies trying to make something work. Nothing worked. I really struggled to get out of bed in the morning because I didn't have that motivation. I didn't have that kind of drive of, look after my babies today. Like, yes, I've got to get them up, I've got to get them dressed, I've got to get them off to school. I know I come from a real place of privilege that I was able to spend such a long time with my little ones right up until that they started school. I am very aware of that, and I'm very aware that women, either by choice or not by choice, don't get that. I've never been career focused and career driven. My sister's got that one sorted. I've always jumped from place to place and different things catch my attention. I very much am a hyper focused type personality. I will put my literal everything, all hours of the day and night into something, and then it won't work and it'll fail. I went from deciding that I was going to create the ultimate veggie patch in the garden, which I still might do because I still think it'd be really good. We do have a veggie patch, but I'm not so good at keeping things alive. I think I probably do need to improve at doing keeping things alive. And like the next day, I was going to do something in the house. I mean, it was madness. I mean, my poor husband was watching all of this unfold, thinking, "What is going on?" But we all know that half of this is down to the science of a woman's brain after she's had children. So that's where I've been. That's what I've been doing. So really nothing interesting. Um, really nothing interesting at all. So I don't know if the podcast is back. I'm putting the feelers out there. I really need your feedback. I really need you guys to tell me that if I, come back on the podcast, what would you like to hear? What I'd like to bring back to the podcast, maybe I should tell you that, is I would like to do it from a slightly different point of view. When my children were babies, I felt very comfortable sharing, intimate details about what was going on, nappy nappy changing, or all the lovely stuff. But now they're real little humans. Not to say they ever weren't, but you know what I mean. I don't feel so confident sharing, and I am a big oversharer, and I need to be careful of how much I share, I'm sure you understand. I was thinking of coming at this podcast and sharing a lot more of the mental experiences that mothers go through and the purpose shift, the carrying of the mental load, and also a bit about my kids. They haven't had an easy ride of it starting school. They've both struggled in very different ways. My eldest is now absolutely flying and loving it. My youngest has a very tricky year group, I think. Lots of big emotions in that year group. And he is very calm. I think we're quite a calm household and possibly entering into the real world where things aren't so calm. It's an intense experience for him. I digress. So, yes, but I do need a little bit of input of what you would like from the podcast. But lots of you have messaged saying, "What are you working on?" So I thought I'd share a little bit of that as well, because this is my current hyper focus, which I'm very much enjoying it. I'm having wobbles, serious wobbles. And actually, last night I had a big wobble about it all. But I am essentially, so one of my issues was I was getting, and this is where this has come from. You may pick up a pattern here. I started Mum Talk because I had a problem that I wanted to solved it with the podcast, and I'm doing it again. I have a problem. I solved it. And then one of my mum's friends said, "Why don't you make this available to everybody? Because this is such a good idea." So that's what I'm currently trying to do. One of my main problems was that I was getting really, really overwhelmed by the smallest of tasks. Now, I've spoken to the doctor lots about this, suggesting to the doctor that I am very possibly in very early stages of perimenopause, but she keeps telling me, "You're not. Your bloods all look fine." I've actually just had some recent bloods done, so I don't have the results yet. So I was getting really overwhelmed, really frustrated because I just couldn't get my thoughts in order. And to many, many friends, I had described my brain as this white canvas that I was literally throwing paint at, could see all of the dots, but just couldn't join the dots. And then I would just get so frustrated. I'd get to the end of the day feeling like I'd have absolutely nothing done, couldn't offload my brain. I really did try most things. I tried the bullet journal, family calendar, which we kind of still have, but it's more just to note down my husband's work and school events. So it's like literally right in front of us, and the kids can see it as well and read it. I tried daily planners. I tried Notion. I like Notion, but I don't like Notion. It didn't give me what I needed. I needed somewhere to literally offload my brain and have someone sort it out for me. And that's what I've done. So I'm not a lover of AI, but I do believe that if we can use things that aren't going away, and I think we all know by now that AI isn't going away, if we can use technology to help us, especially help us as mothers, especially our mental states, then I feel like it's worth it, and I feel like it's good. Hope you agree with me. Which I think is a game changer. I don't know what I would do without it. I really don't. I'd be gutted actually if you guys didn't love it as much as I did, because it means I'd need to shut it down, which would mean I'd lose it too, because I couldn't just afford to run it just for one user, which would be me. Um, because it costs quite a bit of money to run. But it's with beta testers right now, and I'm hoping I'm gonna get some good feedback, but it does really only work if you really use it. You've gotta really use it to get the benefits. I cannot tell you the mental clarity that I have felt over the last few weeks from going, like, super overwhelmed. I'm not gonna include the time that I've been building this thing, because that was not mental clarity, that was a mess, because I had gone from, like, literally 0 tech, 0 coding, 0 experience to trying to build a piece of tech. Yeah, I've gone from kind of being super overwhelmed, 0 focus, 0 motivation, really struggling to get out of bed, really snappy, no idea what I'm doing, to having kind of just in a way just enjoying life outside of motherhood again, and really embracing something that I genuinely believe will make a huge difference to mothers' lives. If anyone is like me out there, and I know there are because there's still so many listeners to this podcast, I can't wait to share more about it. I know I'm still being really vague, but it is still very early stages. Mums might come back and be like, "This is absolute pants," or "This is a great idea, but it just hasn't been implemented in the right way. I just don't know what I'm gonna get back yet." So I will share more. I will come on the podcast and share a lot more. But if you are intrigued, and if you would like to have a little bit more of a read of what I'm talking about, then go to thevisibleload.com, and there is a wait list. Please sign up on the wait list. It'll just send me your email, and I will be able to let you know when it goes live. I hope you're all really well. I am sorry this was such a waffly podcast. I'll do better next time. I'm just getting back into it. Pop me a message on Mum Talk. Let me know if you're listening. It would be really nice to hear from some of you, and also hear that you're listening. All right. Lots of love. Bye.